I know it won't come by surprise to you if I say unemployment rates have been escalating lately. So many people have been losing their jobs out there, and it's no wonder that the Federal Reserve is under pressure to take the right actions for this issue. Federal Reserve to drop rates by 2024? Yes, you've heard it right. Experts say the Federal Reserve will be forced to drop rates by 2024. Is this a good sign for you and me? The hard truth is no. This is going to be a massive impact on the economy as a whole. This impact could span from housing prices to stock market and beyond. A recent notice from the Federal Reserve, aka Fed, was that they will not be increasing the interest rates any further. This is with reference to the unhealthily slow rate the economy is going right now, big time. And the cherry on top is that tons of people are being laid off and currently being unemployed. So obviously, increasing interest rates is not a healthy option. Even money giant companies like Charles Schwab and Qualcomm have been laying off staff and reducing employees at an unhealthy rate over the past couple of weeks. Events like these have caused the unemployment rate to spike up in a flash. Earlier this year, the unemployment rate was at a low of 3.4%, which has risen and is now sitting at 3.9%. The Federal Reserve is not sleeping on this issue, but keeping a close eye and observing all the mishap and chaos this issue is causing. And they are planning on stepping in and being the chill dude like, don't worry, we got you. They are in fact paying close attention to keep this situation in control and keep it from going astray. They are adjusting their plans and planning to pump the brakes on interest rate hikes to try and neutralize things. Hopefully, their plan will not account for the economic downturn and spike in unemployment. I have to say, the job market was looking real solid for a minute, but now it's getting pretty critical and shaky, and folks are struggling to find work. Jerome Powell is quite concerned with the current state of the commercial real estate market since it is in a real volatile condition. If you leave the cap open for a little while, the whole thing would just evaporate. There was a massive change in people's perspective with the long exposure to convenient online platforms like Zoom, and now they are realizing that fancy downtown spaces are not a necessity. This changed mindset has caused properties like office buildings, shopping malls, and other related properties to rapidly lose its value. Another reason for this decline in value for property is the transition of people towards online shopping, and many businesses are closing off their physical stores. The situation for banks isn't looking that good either. It's rather a bit rough and sketchy for them as well, since they've lent billions and billions of dollars for commercial real estate loans. Want to know how much we mean by that? Nearly $3 trillion. You see why it's not going to be easy? What happens if the properties lose value? You can imagine the backlash. The legal procedure would be for the banks to foreclose on some buildings when the payments are not being made on time. But what's the backlash here? With the property value so low, they might not be able to receive the same amount of cash they originally lent out, meaning going for a loss. You can see where this is going. This could significantly disrupt the financial stability of banks to the extent that they may need to cease lending altogether, which would be detrimental for the whole economy. Imagine if people and businesses do not have access to get loans for cars, houses, and other investments. Naturally, the money flow will be gapped, and the whole economic flow will be brought to a halt. So you see how this real estate situation could affect the banking system, which will in turn affect the whole economy? Dark days are ahead. Before Jerome Powell's announcement on the Federal Reserve and the decision to halt the increase of interest rate topic, he had previewed November's job report before it was made available to the public. So what was stated in this report? That there was a significant slowdown in hiring across the U.S. in October, with employers adding only 150,000 jobs. So that leaves you with the tea as to why Powell changed course as soon as the November report dropped. The number may seem big, but that's only half of what they added the previous month. The unemployment rate also rose to 3.9%. And to add to all of that bad news, wage growth has slowed down as well. This employment data contributes as the peak of evidence that the economy was experiencing a slowdown during the autumn months. Moreover, there was an increase in the number of individuals seeking continuing unemployment benefits, reaching the highest level since April. So it's all clear now as to why Powell knew it was unhealthy to increase interest rates and why the Federal Reserve had to hit the brakes on it, with the job market being at such a risky and shaky state. These decisions were all taken for the sake of the economy. And now for the big revelation. Did you know how high the number of unemployed Americans has risen to? It has significantly gone up to reach 6.5 million. This marks a worrying growth of nearly 1 million compared to the low point experienced in April. It's not over yet. Another field that is affected by these unemployment rates is the labor market. Data proves that the labor market is slowing down, and this in turn shows that the unemployment rates will keep increasing. There are significant connections between the Federal Reserve's interest rate policies and the increase in unemployment rates during economic turnovers that can be seen if we take a look at the historical pattern of this context. Typically, in the past 10 recessions, there has been an approximate 8-month gap between the Federal Reserve pausing interest rate hikes in their hike cycle and the unemployment rate starting to rise. If we assume that August 2023 marked the end of the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes according to the historical references, by the spring of 2024, we might have to go through a bumpy ride, which also means an increase in the unemployment rates is on the horizon. With reference to Charles Schwab, which was ranked as the 11th largest bank in the country and one of the largest brokerage firms, faced significant challenges earlier this year during the banking crisis. They have recently let go of 2,000 employees, and their decision to lay off more employees at this point suggests they have concerns about the current economic situation. This accounts for about 5 to 6% of their workforce as they aim to reduce expenses. Perhaps they're uneasy that bank deposits have yet to bounce back from the sharp decline they experienced earlier this year. Surely, it's hard to grasp all the layoffs happening in the job market right now. And what's more scary is that these facts don't make it to mainstream news headlines. Anyway, why does unemployment rates matter for real estate? The housing market in the U.S. is in an undeniably risky state, with home sales taking a significant hit, and even mortgage applications are down as ever. Home prices are showing a gradual decline, which is concerning. Just as the leaves fall during autumn, the prices fall too, and the number of houses in the market increases, and this is a definite sequence of the season. Keep in mind that all of this is happening while still the unemployment rate remains low. This whole situation creates a complex environment in the real estate market. It's crucial to understand what's happening, since we're on the brink of a crisis. Here's what you should know. The connection between the unemployment rate and the rate of mortgage defaults is deep-rooted. The pandemic was an earthquake to the financial stability of many households, leading to a significant uptick in mortgage defaults. However, these defaults didn't automatically result in foreclosures. The main reason was the temporary relief put in place by banning foreclosure, which temporarily protected homeowners from losing their properties. This period witnessed a welcome trend as mortgage default and unemployment rates began to drop. Let me remind you of the latest issue once again. The unemployment rate has edged up to 3.9%. What could happen if this continues? It could most likely result in a corresponding increase in mortgage defaults. And is this an issue? Of course it is. The housing market is not ready to handle such a surge. More pressure on finances of individuals, more strain on mortgage payments. This strain on the mortgage payments will end up in messing up the housing market considerably. It might lead to an oversupply of properties, which in turn could drive property prices down. Ultimately, this could have a ripple effect on the broader economy. Mortgage defaults are at a never-known low level, and housing prices are declining. But the question is, what would happen if the mortgage default rate rises to a long-term range, say 5 to 5.5%? The answer is simple yet complex. We're likely to witness a surge in forceful property sales. As we step into 2024, the Federal Reserve, Fed, will eventually consider interest rate cuts. In fact, there might even be emergency rate cuts during the year. Emergency rates won't urgently plummet the rates from 5 to 2%. It would be like a gradual decline, as what transpired in 2006 and 2007. This would be the same with the mortgage rates. Even though the interest rates are cut, an immediate drop in mortgage rates cannot be seen. Mortgage rates might dip to around 7% initially, then perhaps down to 6.5%. Or there's a possibility they may remain relatively high. Back then, the Federal Reserve maintained interest rates at around 5.3% for about a year before implementing incremental cuts, a move aimed at stabilizing the economy. This was resorted to substantial rate cuts only when circumstances took a severe turn for the worse in 2008. This pattern also had similarities in 2000 during the dot-com bubble. According to betting markets, the Fed is projected to implement its first emergency rate cut in May of 2024. This would mark the start of a shift from the current rate range. It is clear we are in a crucial situation right now, and many individuals are trying to reassure themselves that it will all be a miraculous solution when the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates. But now, we know otherwise. The historical data suggests that once the Federal Reserve starts reducing interest rates, it's typically just a matter of a few months before a recession turns into a full-blown crisis. Thank you for watching.